What's up, family? What's up, YouTube? Hey, this morning we're going to talk about why we think Bitcoin is going to rise with our favorite CFA, Mr. Roger Soni. Okay, be sure to go to his channel and subscribe, and let's get right to it. What's up, YouTube? What's up, family? We're going to take a look at and listen to Mr. Roger Soni, the CFA, explain Bitcoin and where we're at, especially the returns. And it's going to give you a hint to why I like holding Bitcoin instead of trading it. And we're going to get educated here this morning by listening to him.
I know a lot of other people are probably asking as well. I'm not saying Bitcoin's price won't go up, but you are not giving us any arguments as to why it will. Why look at 25% adoption and not 2.5% adoption or even 0.0025% adoption? Your argument is basically if demand goes up, price will go up, but you don't have any answer to why demand would go up. I really like this question because it goes really deep into the first principles of how things work and why people will want a form of money that nobody can create out of thin air. The first thing that I want to mention here is just the returns from Bitcoin versus all these other assets. So Bitcoin, gold, and the S&P 500. Bitcoin has returned 132%. Gold has returned 37% in the last year. The S&P 500 has returned 22%. In the last 2 years, Bitcoin has a compound annual growth rate. So year over year, it's returned 107% compounded. Gold has returned 23%. The S&P 500 has returned 21%. If we go all the way to 4 years, this is the worst period. Keep that in mind. So this is the worst period out of all of these. 28% for Bitcoin, 11% per year for gold, and 12% per year for the S&P 500. The reason why I wanted you to look at those numbers is because I want you to think from the perspective of an investor, somebody who's trying to save for their future. So we can see here from Wells Fargo, great answer. Why is investing important? Investing can be an effective way to put your money to work and potentially build wealth. Smart investing may allow your money to outpace inflation and increase in value. The greater growth potential of investing is primarily due to the power of compounding and the risk-return trade-off. And the reason why investing is so important is because the purchasing power of the dollar is constantly decreasing. This is the purchasing power of the consumer dollar in the US city average. So we can see here, this is a chart from the Federal Reserve. They've created a chart here explaining to you that the value of the dollars that you save is constantly decreasing. So you're able to buy fewer and fewer things with every single dollar that you have. And the longer that you save your dollars, the fewer things that you'll be able to buy with those dollars. And again, it goes back to supply and demand. The dollar can be created out of nothing. We have basically pieces of cotton. So we have $100 here, $100 bill here. So we have pieces of cotton that we use to exchange for goods and services. These things can be printed out of nothing. They have printers that create more. They have databases where they just add a line to a Excel spreadsheet and they create more dollars, whatever their way of doing it in the background is. So what's happening is they're adding more and more dollars to the economy, and you're able to buy fewer and fewer things with your dollars as they print more, because as more dollars enter the economy, the demand for dollars is fulfilled. Fewer people want dollars, and they want more dollars for the goods and services that they're selling. So let's say you go to a grocery store. You want to buy apples? A few years ago, maybe you could buy 10 apples for $1. Today, you can buy 1 apple for $1. A few years ago, you could buy a house for $100,000. Today, you're paying $500,000 for a house, because the number of dollars in the system keeps increasing and increasing and increasing. And on this chart here, you see the complete opposite. So instead of showing you the purchasing power of the dollar, now we're looking at the supply of the dollar. This is the M2 money supply. We can see here in January of 1959, there were $286.6 billion in the system. Today, well, in December of 2024, there were $21.5 trillion in the system. So This number has gone up by about 8% per year. So if we take a look at the chart where it showed you the returns from these assets, if the amount of money in the system is increasing by 8% per year, gold is giving you 13% returns, 12%, 11%.
Now, this is why I took all my money out of my 401k and put in Bitcoin years ago, because of the returns we were getting from Bitcoin. See these returns right here? It was better than what I was getting from all those stuff that they told me to get in when I was on my job. So I was diverting my money to Bitcoin early on because I know it just kept going up. Look at the return year after year after year. It was more than what gold was giving us, and it was more than what the stock market was giving us. So that's why I put the majority of my money in Bitcoin early on.
In the last 4 years, it's only given you 11%. So you've made, let's say, 3% more than the money supply. With stocks, in the last 4 years, you've made 4% more than the money supply is increasing. So you're outpacing inflation very slightly. These two, gold and the S&P 500, are a way for you to retire in 40 years. If you want to retire in 40 years, go ahead and buy gold and the S&P 500. Go for it. If that's what you want to do, if you want to keep waiting to retire, if you want to wait until you have free time in your life, if you want to keep working a job that you hate, if you want to keep struggling financially, having to pinch every single penny that you earn, keep investing in gold, the S&P 500, keep holding dollars. But if you want to retire early, if you want to actually get out of the financial system that we have, this rat race, you have to buy Bitcoin. We can see that from the returns. The lowest return in the lowest compound annual growth rate in the last 15 years, the lowest period was 4 years ago. And in that period, it's up 28% per year. This price is more like a downstream effect of Bitcoin, I'd say. I think a lot of people who are not even studying Bitcoin, who don't quite understand it, they're probably going to buy Bitcoin just because the price is going up. I think Wall Street is going to buy Bitcoin because of the fundamentals. I think Wall Street is going to buy as much as they can because they understand that Bitcoin could potentially compete with the US dollar. They understand that because Bitcoin has a finite supply, eventually it will be money. Right now it's in the store of value phase. As more people discover Bitcoin, they're going to want to hold it. They're going to want to take part in these massive returns. And eventually, those people who want to take part in these massive returns are going to want to sell their Bitcoin in exchange for goods and services. So maybe they'll want to trade it for groceries. Maybe they'll want to trade it for a house. Maybe they'll want to trade it for furniture, a car, whatever they want to buy. Maybe they'll be willing to give away their Bitcoin in exchange for those goods and services at some point in the future. The fundamental reason for why Bitcoin's price is going up is because it has a finite supply. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. Once 21 million Bitcoin have been issued, there's never, ever going to be any more. The network is going to be sustained through transaction fees. Whoever owns Bitcoin will be able to do whatever they want with it. They'll be able to exchange it for goods and services. Maybe they'll pay you Bitcoin if they start a business. They'll pay you in Bitcoin. You'll do whatever they want you to do. They need some kind of computer programmer, whatever the jobs are at the time, 2140, whatever the jobs are then. If this person has Bitcoin, they can pay you for your labor. They can pay you for your time. Bitcoin is a way for people to save their time for the future. So they can buy other people's time using Bitcoin because Bitcoin is money. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where people see that Bitcoin's price is going up, so they want to buy more. And because there's a finite supply, the number of people who are willing to sell Bitcoin run out at every single price. So the people who have Bitcoin and they're willing to sell at, let's say, $80,000, they're gone. No more Bitcoin available at that price. Over time, because there's a finite number of Bitcoin, the people who own Bitcoin are also finite. The people who own Bitcoin have a finite number of Bitcoin as well. So they can sell their Bitcoin into the market, but demand is infinite. Everybody in the world has a demand for money. Bitcoin is essentially money. it can replace whatever we need to invest. So if Bitcoin is getting you 40, 50, 60% per year, you're massively outpacing inflation. And why wouldn't anybody want this?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't anybody want to increase their purchasing power for the future? I think that's the main thing here. Why wouldn't anyone want more purchasing power going forward to buy more of the things that they need, the things that they want in their life? Whatever they want to purchase, they'll be able to purchase it with this Bitcoin. And of course, I've mentioned this in previous videos. The reason why people want Bitcoin is because it fulfills all of the functions of money. Most people haven't figured this out yet. The people who have figured it out are trying to buy as much Bitcoin as they can because they realize that at some point, you're no longer going to be able to give away dollars to purchase Bitcoin. You're going to have to work for Bitcoin. You're going to have to give away goods and services for Bitcoin. So you may be able to eventually sell your house for Bitcoin. Instead of getting dollars, you'll be able to sell it for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is better at all of these characteristics than gold. Today, gold is the most widely used store of value because it has all of these characteristics, but they're not the best. It's not the best at being money, so you really can't use it as a medium of exchange and a unit of account. But Bitcoin, you can. So the game theory here is who will figure this out first? Whoever figures this out is going to try to accumulate as much as they can. Once Bitcoin is in the hands of people who figure it out, they're never going to sell it again.
Right.
So right now, a lot of people hold gold as a store of value. I personally think because Bitcoin's inflation rate, so right now Bitcoin's inflation rate is 3.22% for the next 4 years. So it's about 0.75% per year. This is lower than gold. The reason why people use gold as a store of value is because historically gold has had one of the lowest inflation rates out of everything that we use. Gold is also distributed pretty well throughout the world. People from all around the world have it. But gold doesn't fulfill all of the characteristics that we need money to have. A lot of people just hold on to it because they expect that the purchasing power will rise over time. Bitcoin is digital gold. It has all of the characteristics of gold, but it's better. If gold currently has a $19 trillion market cap, where do you think Bitcoin is going to go? Right now, gold is only being used as a store of value.
Now, this is what I wanted to point out at this asset market cap chart here. Is you see where Bitcoin is at number 7 right now. You know, I got Amazon and Apple is ahead of it as far as market value. But we're in Epoch 5. By Epoch 6 in 2028, Bitcoin is going to be at number 1 or number 2. Watch what I tell you.
Gold can't be used as a medium of exchange and unit of account in the digital economy because you can't move gold over the internet. Bitcoin is the only thing in the world that has a finite supply. It's decentralized like gold. It can be used as money. You can transfer it across the world if you want to within seconds, within minutes. You can use the Lightning Network to transact even faster. Nobody can stop you from transacting. You are in control of your wealth, similar to gold. So right now, gold is worth $19 trillion. We now have a digital version of gold. So more people will have access to it. Most people don't have access to gold. You can't buy a gram of gold. A gram of gold will cost you something like $70, $80. Because Bitcoin is digital and because it's infinitely divisible, you can buy any amount of Bitcoin that you want. If you want to buy $5 worth of Bitcoin, you can. If you want to buy $10 worth of Bitcoin, you can. So what this does is it makes Bitcoin available to more people around the world. One of the problems with gold is that you can't buy really, really small amounts. So for example, I pulled up some sales for 1 gram of gold. You can buy 1 gram of gold, but it'll cost you way more than 1 gram of gold is worth. Right now, an ounce of gold is worth $2,800, so 1 gram is worth about $100 US. You can see here, Royal Canadian Mint is selling you 1 gram of gold for 170 Canadian dollars. 170 Canadian dollars works out to be 117 US dollars. So 1 gram of gold is actually worth $100. You're paying 117. On top of this, you have to also pay $30 in shipping. So you're paying, let's say, 135. So the price of gold has to rise 35% just for you to break even. What this means is that you can't buy small amounts of gold and expect it to be a way for you to store value over time. You can't really dollar cost average into gold. Maybe you can put away $100, $200, $300 a week, whatever you can put away, but you have to buy ounces. You can't buy in small amounts because you're going to give away so much in slippage. So in this case, you've paid so much in just admin fees and the spreads and your shipping cost that you've increased your cost basis from $100 that it's worth by 35%. So you need to make 35% in profits for you to actually make this worth anything. On the other hand, if you wanted to buy Bitcoin, you have to pay a 1% spread. And then the fees on the network for you to transfer your Bitcoin to your own wallet, 1 sat per VByte, so something like 15 cents now. So instead of paying $30 in delivery.
Now, speaking of wallets, that's why if you have more than $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, you should keep it offline. I keep my Bitcoin offline, not connected to the internet, in a cold storage wallet called the Elaport. And I love this offline wallet because it keeps my Bitcoin secure. Now, my hot wallet, which is my Exodus wallet, which is on my phone, I keep $5,000 or less on my Exodus wallet. You know, if I need to cash something out and buy something or whatever, I take it from this wallet. But I never take anything out of my cold storage wallet, because this is where the family's bulk of wealth is stored in Bitcoin. And it's offline, so it's protected against hackers and all of that. So if you got a lot of Bitcoin, you want to store it offline, speaking of wallets. So just want to bring that up.
You're paying 15 cents. Instead of paying a 12-15% spread, you're paying 1%. So what that does is it makes it more available. It makes Bitcoin more available to more people around the world. More people can buy Bitcoin. Demand rises. Bitcoin is massively outperform everything else, like I showed you here. So again, demand rises. As demand rises, Bitcoin's return accelerates. As institutional investors start joining in, Bitcoin's return accelerates even more. As institutional investors start joining in, they're going to start buying tens, hundreds, thousands of Bitcoin every single day. Demand rises even more and more wealth going into Bitcoin. We're going to see this accelerate. We're going to see these two slow down, gold and S&P 500. We're going to see them slow down because people are going to go from gold to Bitcoin. People are going to go from the S&P 500 to Bitcoin. So the reason why the price is going to go up is because people need a vehicle to invest in. Bitcoin is the best vehicle for the entire world. Nobody can create more. Nobody can increase the supply past this 21 million cutoff. Every Bitcoin that's created requires a certain amount of time, energy, effort to create. Nobody can change this. Nobody can stop this from happening. Nobody can stop you from spending your Bitcoin however you want to. So Bitcoin is a neutral form of money, meaning that anybody in the world can participate in this network. Anybody in the world can get exposure to this network. So more and more people will be able to get access to Bitcoin. We're going to realize that Bitcoin is the best form of money in the world. We're going to see merchants who want Bitcoin in exchange for their goods and services instead of dollars. Over time, this is going to get widely adopted. In this case, it's not about if, it's about when. It's about when it gets adopted, not if. Every single person on Earth is going to have to adopt Bitcoin. Eventually they will. Once people realize that this is the best form of money, they're going to adopt Bitcoin. There's no way around that. It's not about if, it's about when. In this case, it could take a year, it could take 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. I don't know how long it'll take. In the meantime, while people are still figuring it out, the price is going to keep rising. It's going to keep rising. It's going to go to $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, because the people who figure it out are buying and they're not selling again. They don't plan to sell again. They plan to hold until Bitcoin starts being used for what it's supposed to be used. My argument here is that eventually everybody in the world is going to use Bitcoin. Everybody in the world is going to use Bitcoin as a store value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. I just don't know when. So as more people adopt Bitcoin, the price is going to be pushed up. This is not something we can avoid. don't focus on the day-to-day prices. Day-to-day, the price is going to fluctuate. We're going to see it go
Exactly. It's
up,
going to
come
go
down,
up and
go
down.
up, come down.
Yep.
Year over year, your goal should be to have more Satoshis.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter how many Satoshis you have.
Keep
You have
buying,
1,000
keep
Satoshis,
stacking.
get to 10,000. You have 10,000, get to 100,000. You have 100,000, get to 1,000,000.
Exactly.
Whatever you have, accumulate more. Save for your family, save for your friends, save for the people around you, save for your community. There's only a finite number of Bitcoin. Your entire
Set
community
them grandkids
is going
up.
to need Bitcoin in order to pay for goods and services.
And speaking of grandkids, set them up. And where do they think all this money is coming from that's being added to their savings account that came out of nowhere, or their spending account, which they're running through? You know, where do you think this money is? And it's only going to get better for you. But the thing is, you're not going to be able to touch it like you're going to want to touch it. That's the thing. Because it takes some money in the family to start this and get involved in something that's going to change the dynamic and the direction of your family's life. You got to take action. You can't want to get rich. You got to take action to get rich. You got to take action to sit at home like me every day and do nothing and just stack Satoshis. All right? And tell other people about it. And hopefully wake some people up, you know, especially our people, especially the ones that are walking around sleep. Now is the best time for you to buy Bitcoin, because even though Bitcoin is right now trading at around $85,000 a coin, that's still good. That's still good buying time to buy, in my opinion. I'm not giving a financial advice, but that's the best time to buy Bitcoin when prices are falling. That way you can accumulate more Satoshis at a lower price, you know, sort of dollar cost averaging in a sense. So that's what you want to do. You want to keep buying. And I want to show you here on a chart right here that this is where we are right now. We're at $100,000 a coin. It says Epoch 4, but right now we're in Epoch 5, which is 2024 to 2028. We're in 2025 right now. Epoch 5 started in April of 2024. So we're a year into Epoch 5. Now, before Epoch 5 is over, it's going to add another zero. Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million a coin. You see, right now it's at $100,000 a coin. It's going to add another zero right here. It is unstoppable. The way Bitcoin works, it's unstoppable because it's depleting itself every day. That's why you want to get in now, while they're getting this good. That's why I say we are in the sweet spot in Bitcoin. Sure, some of you guys missed the birth, okay? But you can't worry about the past. You know, you only can worry about the future. And the future for us right now, especially within my family, is now. Now is the time to get off your ass and start doing something, okay? Don't get mad if you don't know money is flowing into your pocket. That's by your hands. Because we're showing you the path. You just have to take action to follow that path. All right? So, you know, this is where we're at right now in Epoch 5. Between 2024 and 2028 is going to add another zero. Bitcoin is going to $1 million a coin. Even though it's dropping right now, it's telling you, hey, I'm gathering energy to go where I need to go. Either you're going to be on board or you're going to sit your ass on the sideline and watch everybody else get rich, and don't hate when that happens. All right? So we know how people are when people start hating on other people because they're doing something different than what they're doing. You got the same hours in the day and the same opportunity as everybody else. Okay? Use your time wisely.
If you can accumulate enough, contribute to your community, why not? Make your community better. Make it a better place for your kids, for your grandkids, for generations that aren't even born yet. Because Bitcoin has all of the characteristics we need money to have, it's going to eventually replace gold as a store of value. It's eventually going to replace the stock market as a store of value. People aren't going to blindly put their money into all of those legacy assets anymore. They're going to divert their money into Bitcoin, or they're going to get paid directly in Bitcoin. When they get paid in Bitcoin, they're no longer going to have to buy those other.
That's why I took all of my cash out of my 401k and put it in Bitcoin in September of 2020. When I retired from building military equipment for 14 years. Man, I'm glad I learned this stuff early, man. And I'm not behind, you know. And I'm trying to convince family members you need to get off your duff because this is where it's at. So don't get mad when people start in the family start prospering and you don't because you haven't made the choice yet to do what the hell you need to do.
Assets, those other assets are not going to outperform Bitcoin unless there's a massive change in how we value them. I personally think that right now everything is overvalued. I think houses are overvalued. I think gold is overvalued. I think stocks are overvalued. I think Apple stock is overvalued. Everything is overvalued when priced in Bitcoin. As more dollars are added to the system and more dollars chase Bitcoin, we're going to see that Bitcoin's price is going to rise until nobody's willing to sell their Bitcoin for dollars anymore. And the only way to acquire Bitcoin will be through either labor or through offering some kind of good or service.
Now, speaking of that, let's get out of that. All right, speaking of that, I just want to say now is the time to get into Bitcoin, man. Stop wasting time. Stop stacking those Satoshis away, even if it's $5 a week or $5 a month or $10 a month. Now is the time to start stacking it away, you know. And remember, you know, if you got more than $5,000 worth of the stuff, you need to go ahead on and put it in a cold wallet to protect your coins, man, because I'm telling you, these hackers, they're getting smart. A friend of mine got $1,200 worth of Bitcoin swiped the other day, and that's because he didn't have no secure equipment on his computer. So, you know, when you buy these coins on these exchanges, like Coinbase or Kraken or Crypto.com, once those coins clear and you're able to move those coins off the exchanges, go ahead and put them in an offline wallet, man. Go ahead and store them away so you know you have your coins in your hands. They're off the exchanges. You ain't got to worry about nobody hacking you, okay? Now, you know, if you need to spend Bitcoin or whatever, I suggest you operate out of a hot wallet. My hot wallet is on my phone, which is connected to the internet, which is my Exodus wallet. And I keep less than $5,000 in that wallet at all times, but I keep the bulk of my coins, my family's wealth, in an offline wallet called the Elaport. And there's other ones out there. You got the Trezor. Those are good offline wallets. But the whole point is keep your coins offline so they cannot be hacked. That's the whole point. All right. So this is where we are in Bitcoin. As you can see, it dropped to where we said it was going to drop. We said it was going to drop to 79,000. That's in one of my previous videos on my YouTube channel. And it dropped to that point. It actually went lower than that. And we called that 2 weeks ago because we did our 50% retracement zone charts, which is how Ken Roberts taught us. And these charts don't lie. I don't care if you're trading Bitcoin, commodities, corn, wheat, it don't matter. Silver, gold, pork bellies, it don't matter. These charts do 50s within 50s. All you have to do is learn it. And I'm glad I learned it through the Ken Roberts Academy years ago in the early 90s. And I thank Ken Roberts for that. And I love you, Ken Roberts, wherever you're at there in Grants Pass, Oregon, man. I love you. And thank you so much for what you've done for myself and for my family over the years. And that's all I wanted to get across this morning, folks. I wanted y'all to hear the CFA explain Bitcoin. Go to his YouTube channel and subscribe to Sonia Rajat's YouTube channels and get the knowledge that you need to get about Bitcoin. You know, now is the time to get involved. Don't get left behind, man. I'll see you at the top.